Good evening, boys and girls. Tonight's lesson is 10.5, Line Symmetry. The essential question for tonight is, how can you check if a shape has line symmetry? Now, why don't you take a moment and write in your notes, how can you check if a shape has line symmetry? Okay, so to start this lesson, we need to find out what is line symmetry. Here's a definition. A shape has line symmetry if it can be folded about a line so that its two parts match exactly. A fold line, also known as line of symmetry, divides a shape into two congruent parts. Now remember, congruent means same shape, same size. Now you can find symmetry in nature and in shapes all around you. Whenever you're walking around school or even if you're just at your house, look at the things around you and see if they have line symmetry. Now if you were to take a trip out to Hollywood, California, you would see a sign that looks just like this. Now I would like for you to pause the video and look at each of the different letters. Write them down on your notes and see if any of these letters have line symmetry. If they do, tell me in your notes which letters you found to have line symmetry. Now remember, to have line symmetry, they have to have two congruent parts, which means they have to be the same size and the same shape. Okay, now boys and girls, I want you to look at these four examples. We have 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, on your paper, I want you to tell whether the parts on each side of the line match. Is the line a line of symmetry? Now, boys and girls, the only line that they're talking about is the blue dotted line. They aren't talking about any of the black lines, okay? They're only talking about these blue dotted lines on each of the shapes. Okay, so for number 1, you should have written, no, this one does not have a line of symmetry where the blue line is drawn. Now many people get tricked on this one because they think, well, if I fold it in half, then it would match up, which is true. If you folded it vertically or horizontally, it would match up. But where the blue line is at, it doesn't match up. It only matches up if you were to fold the rectangle horizontally or vertically. Now, if you want, you can take your piece of paper and you can try it and see if that's true. Now, for number 2, if you wrote the correct answer, yes, you are right. This one does have a line of symmetry where the blue line is at. Now, if you look closely, there's actually another line of symmetry right there. Now, for number 3, we also have a line of symmetry. So if you wrote yes, you are also correct. If you look in the mirror, you can see that your face has a line of symmetry. Everyone's face has a line of symmetry. Right down the middle where your nose is at, if you were to draw a line right down the middle, everything would match up on both sides. Now, for number 4, if you wrote the correct answer is no, you are also correct. Now, if you look at this triangle, you would see that this does have a line of symmetry, but it's not where the blue line is at. The line of symmetry is actually right down the middle vertically. So for number 1, you should have said no, number 2 should be yes, number 3 should be yes, and number 4 should be no. Okay, now I would like for you to answer this question. Which best describes the line of symmetry and the letter M? A, horizontal line of symmetry, B, vertical line of symmetry, C, diagonal line of symmetry, or D, rotational symmetry. Now we haven't discussed rotational symmetry yet, but that'll be coming in the following weeks. Now pause the video and answer this question. Now if you chose that the best line of symmetry for the letter M was B, vertical line of symmetry, you are correct, and I'm going to show you why. If you were to make a line that went straight down, vertically down the letter M, you would see that if you folded the letter M on that dotted line, you would be able to match both sides up congruently. They would be the same size and the same shape. Okay, so here's another question for you. Sense or nonsense? Jeff says that the shape has only 2 lines of symmetry. Does his statement make sense? Explain. So, does this shape right here have 2 lines of symmetry, 1 line of symmetry, or more than 2 lines of symmetry? Go ahead and pause the video to write your answer. Make sure you give a detailed explanation. Now, if you said nonsense, you are correct. I'm not exactly sure what Jeff was thinking, but I only see 1 line of symmetry, and that line of symmetry is the vertical line of symmetry. If you were to take that shape and fold it over on that line of symmetry, it would match up completely. Now, Jeff might have been thinking that if he drew a horizontal line of symmetry that it would match up, but as you can see, if you drew the horizontal line of symmetry on this shape, those two would not match up at all. Also, he might have thought that if he drew a diagonal line of symmetry that it would match up, but as you can see, those two would not match up either. So if you said nonsense and that it only had 1 line of symmetry, you are correct. Okay, so look at this question very carefully. It says, which shape has a correctly drawn line of symmetry? Is it A, B, C, or D? Go ahead and write your answer on your notes. I'll give you about 5 seconds. Okay, if you said letter C, you are correct. If you were to fold that shape on the dotted blue line, they would be congruent to one another. They would be the same shape and the same size. Now letter A, B, and D, if you were to fold them on the blue line, they would not be congruent. Okay, so here are your homework questions for tonight. You have 2 examples. One says, how many lines of symmetry does the pentagon shown at the right have? So they're talking about this pentagon, and they're asking how many lines of symmetry do you think this pentagon has? So look at that very carefully to come up with your answer. Now down at the bottom you have 1, 2, 3, 4 pictures, and I want you to tell how many lines of symmetry the shapes appear to have. You're going to write 0 if you believe the shape has no lines of symmetry, 1 if you think the shape only has 1 line of symmetry, or more than 1 if you think the shape has more than 1 line of symmetry. Now, guys, don't just guess. Go ahead and draw lines on these shapes and prove your answer, okay? Okay, boys and girls, now don't forget after you get finished with your homework to assess yourself in your little box down in the right-hand corner of your paper. Make sure you put a 1, 2, 3, or 4. 1 is for novice. Remember, if you're just not getting this and you still have a lot of questions, then put 1. 2 is apprentice. You're starting to get it, but you still might need some coaching. 3 is your practitioner. You can do it by yourself, but you might get stuck sometimes. And 4, expert, you feel like you can come in and teach the whole class tomorrow. Now remember, you can always go back on this video and you can clarify any misunderstandings or questions you might have about line of symmetry. Okay, so here are your homework questions again. Look over them very carefully and make sure that you have the correct answers and that you are 100% positive that they are correct. Make sure that you bring in your packet tomorrow. We're going to be checking these answers whole group, and then we're going to be having a lot of fun activities with line symmetry tomorrow. Well, I can't wait to see you guys, so have a wonderful night, and we'll see you tomorrow.